Today, we're talking to Ricky V, 31 years old, diaper dandy. Hi, my name's Troy Landwehr, and I love teaching business principles through the Bible. And one of my specialties is to help people make money from home. I've helped CEOs of companies. I've helped top earners. But today, I'm really honored to speak to a gentleman that's made millions and millions of dollars right from home. And his name is Ricky V. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm great and honored to be here, Troy. Thank you.
Well, you're absolutely crushing it. And, you know, I heard of your company before you joined, actually. And because of you, you've really taken your company to new heights. And I love getting someone that's young and youthful because more than ever in this day and age, people are looking to make money from home. And so the first question is, how did you get in this industry? And why are you having this much success? Because my mom told me I shouldn't be jealous, but I kind of am. I kind of am jealous. I'm supposed to be envious. You're absolutely cranking it. You know, how were you able to do this from home and make this kind of money?
Yeah, well, hey, I'm excited to be here first and foremost. Thank you, man. Your name carries a lot of weight, so it's an honor to just be here talking to you and have you as a friend and as an acquaintance as well. So you know, how did I get started? Very simple. About 11 years ago, I was 20 years old. I was kind of like a lost kid out there. I'd gotten my girlfriend pregnant at a young age. I was attending college, but I wasn't fascinated or passionate for college. I remember failing my art class and thinking that was $1,400 down the drain just for art, you know. And I was in search of something. I didn't know what it was. I got introduced to network marketing because I was walking down the road one day from work. I didn't have a car at the time, and a gentleman pulled over in a Cadillac Escalade and said, "Hey, do you want to ride?" I said, "Hey, sure," you know. And I got in the car, and in the car there was this magazine, and I'm flipping through it, and his page or his pictures in the magazine, and I'm like, "What do you do?" And he said, I teach people how to make money. I'm like, "Great, I'm broke. I don't make a lot at work. I don't have a car. I don't have a girlfriend." I'm like, "I need to make money, right?" So he's like, "Hey, come down to this event tonight and check it out." I went down to the event. I saw network marketing for the first time. And that day I dropped out of college. I quit my job and I went all in the industry 11 years ago. So
wow, what a story. Well, so let me ask you this. A lot of people, you know, they're going through changes. You're seeing Hertz rental card laying off people, Nike making layoffs. More and more layoffs are happening right now. And it seems like college isn't what it used to be. I mean, I barely graduated high school. I flunked out of college. I have a borderline learning disability. So I can relate to you. Why are more young people looking at this? And how would people approach a young person like yourself to be open for a home-based business?
Yeah, I think social media has brought a lot of awareness to I mean, not just young people, but all over the world, right? But especially young people, as they're so immersed onto social media and they realize the amount of opportunities there are to make money. I think you know, the word woke, right? People are becoming more woke to the idea that why am I going to go to college and spend 4 or 5 years there, spend $200,000-$300,000, get into debt, things that we've seen have been celebrated traditionally, right? Like what's been celebrated traditionally is, hey, it's okay to get into $300,000 of debt to just get a little plaque on the wall that says you're a college grad. It's okay to get $300,000 in debt for a home. It's okay to get, you know, $5,000 in debt for a wedding ring for you know, for your significant other. And next thing you know, you're 25, 26 years old and you're already more than $500,000 in debt. You have no idea what you're going to even do to pay for that. So you have to stick at a job that you're not really passionate about, but it has to pay the bills. Yet at the same time, you're also not celebrated or in most times looked down upon if you say, hey, I'm going to spend, you know, a couple $100 to start a business, right? And so it's just this idea of people are becoming more aware of why am I being celebrated for that versus this, right? And we've seen it from all the greats. Even Steve Jobs talked about this in terms of like living within like the walls, like for the rest of your life. And so that's number one. I think number two is because of the way the economy has gone, you've seen a lot of things happen because of the COVID, a lot of layoffs happening. Even before that, you saw different companies enter the scene, companies like Uber, companies like Lyft, where all of a sudden people are getting their power back by saying, hey, I don't have to be at a sucky job. I can actually have flexibility flexibility, time freedom, something simple where I can download an app and I can drive for Uber, I can drive for Lyft. And so the awareness of more opportunities being accessible to the masses, before it wasn't like that. And so I think people are finding different ways to make money, and they're wanting to do that because they already know what they want to do in life, you know? And so for me, it was like, network marketing was the only platform back then, right? 11 years ago, you didn't have Uber, you didn't have Lyft, you didn't have those things, right? And so that was my escape route. And so I think that's one of the big reasons why younger people are gravitating towards this. But you also see the baby boomers, man. You see the baby boomers that are going to drive for Uber and Lyft. They're not wanting to be doorbell greeters at Walmart anymore. You know what I mean? And so there's this huge shift happening in the economy. And I think that one of the most powerful things that you can do in this time is that it's simple, but people miss it. And that's the word simplicity. For me, if you have to take 15 minutes to explain a business model to somebody, if you have to spend 15 minutes walking through a presentation, or the old school way of network marketing where you spend 45 minutes to an hour talking about, you know, your company owner, your product, the science, the patents, the compensation plan, your system, the timing, you lose so much time. And what I've learned is that if you want people to chase you, you have to move on without them. And when you move on without people, you move on without others or without people by saying, hey, this is where I'm going. I don't know if it's for you or not, but this is where I'm headed. I'd love for you to join me. And you move on to the next conversation. Simplicity, speed, those are things that really create a magnetic personality. People want to follow those kind of people. And so we've had a lot of success over these last 10 months, basically making for those that are in network marketing, basically saying, hey, the way you get a customer, the way you recruit a distributor, the way you launch a distributor, it's all the same exact verbiage that we're using. And it takes less than 10 seconds to say to really launch someone, get a customer, or recruit a brand new distributor. So we're seeing stories now of us being able to compete with other companies, right? If you're a network marketing, you're not just competing with network marketing anymore. You're competing with Uber, you're competing with Lyft. And when you see the statistics, they easily show that 85% of the people out there aren't looking to become 8-figure earners, 7-figure earners, 6-figure earners. What they're looking for is $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month that they can do in a simple way, in a magical way, from home, on their own time. And so we've seen a wave, and that's how you capture, is really through simplicity. And that's how you capture not just young people, but you capture 85% of the marketplace.
Wow, I love what you just said. Okay, you just revved me up. Now we're getting going, guys. This is why I wanted Ricky on the show. Are you kidding me? So here's what I've been preaching, and here's what I loved about it. You're the only one that I've ever had here that have said it the way you've said it, and it's very intelligent. But I like that it's coming from someone that's still young. I give you a couple more years, then I can't call you young. But 31 years old, I'll still call you. I'll call you young. You're young to me. This is the whole thing, is that, you know, you're not just competing against other people that are in your industry, in your field, at in-home business. I love what you said, is that you have to become system dependent. The reason why you've had so much success, and the reason why your company has had so much success, is because you have developed a system where you're system dependent, not people dependent. And you're competing against not just the home-based business industry, but it's like, look, Netflix didn't take out Blockbuster because they had a better product. They took them out because they had a better system. And that's what you're talking about. That's why you're winning big time. And not only have you won, you've helped so many other people win. I love the fact that it's the companies that are ability to adapt to change are the ones that win. Not the best companies, it's the smart, it's the ones that adapt to change. And you were able to take something, make it very, very simple for the average person to come over here. Because wouldn't you agree that most people they don't have a lot of time? And Ricky, wouldn't you agree that most people are doing this right from home or right from their phone, and they're doing it extremely part-time? It's not that they're running into it full-time, so they have to have a good system. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, when we got started in our company 10 months ago, the conversation wasn't even part-time or full-time. The conversation was spare time. You know, we all have a little bit of spare time here and there. And you're right, the world is moving at a faster pace. We got a lot of things going on, right? I'm married, I have 4 kids, and then I have 83,000 distributors that I'm working with, right? And so it's like, if I can't find simplicity even in what I'm personally doing, then I'm going to burn out extremely fast. And that's what happens with a lot of people, especially in network marketing. And that's why for me, one of my biggest things that I like, my whole mission really in terms of network marketing is I want to give you the truth. I want to give you what's going to produce you commissions for your e-wallet, what's going to produce you income for your house. I see way too many people spending time on the wrong things. Look, if I got to come into a business and I got to figure out what's the best filter to use to make myself look more pretty, if I got to figure out all these algorithms, if I got to figure out, how to become a social media icon or influencer, and I got to figure out all these things, then you're not catering to the masses. What I represent, man, is I represent the lunch lady, the truck driver, the lawyer, the doctor, the person that's at home with 4 or 5 kids that doesn't have all day long. And I can teach you how to become wealthy. That's been my mission, is because there's so much noise out there that if I can help you hone in on just a few things that I know in my heart that's worked for me can make a shift in your life financially, I'm telling you, it's game over. And so that's my biggest mission right now, is how can I help you by identifying the right things that are going to produce an income. And it is simplicity. It is in your spare time. It is in a magical system that you don't have to learn. I learned a long time ago that if you're already training too much, you're already lost, man. Like if I got to spend an hour launching you on how to build this business, then I already lost. And I'm fading away into the fading to black, right? Because it's not innovative. It's not different. It's not, people are going to say, hey, I'd rather drive Uber, dude. Like, why? It's easier. Like I can just download an app and drive. I don't need to go learn what you do, And so we found a secret sauce for us that worked, and we didn't know if it was going to work at the time. But $50 million in sales later, we've proven that it does work.
Well, it's obviously working. It's obviously working. What you guys have accomplished is very impressive. So let me ask you, let's talk about social media a little bit. At your age, you're right at the age where you're probably on Instagram, and you're probably cranking IG, and us old people are still trying to get learning Facebook and all that, and you're probably a TikTok mastermind. But what platforms are you using the most, and why are you using those social media platforms?
Yeah, what's interesting? I don't have a TikTok account. I don't have a Snapchat account either. And what, again, for me, it just came down to like, I remember trying to get Facebook, Instagram going. And then I remember adding Snapchat. And then I was like spending so much time trying to create this content that I wasn't producing the results I wanted in my business. So I let those go. And who knows, maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. I've realized for me though, and everyone has a different philosophy, right? Like I try different things, right? One of the things that Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about is what, like, document along the way and do it on all these social media platforms. But hey, Gary Vaynerchuk has a team of people that also help him do that across multiple platforms. And so what I decided to do that worked for me, and again, it may not work for you, everyone's different, is I decided to master just one thing. And I've mastered Facebook like crazy. I've just monetized that idea because for me, it was like, I knew that was the audience that I was looking for. And that's what I've kind of just worked out a lot. Now I'm starting to expand into Instagram. But if you look at my Instagram account, man, I'm not at all popular, but you can see that I definitely have mastered the Facebook world, I guess you could say.
Yes, you have. Yeah, it's interesting. So I mean, you've always cranked, multiple 7-figure yearly income. Did you ever think that you would be able to make that kind of money? Because here's what is interesting: when you hear the majority of people are going to be like jealous of that. They're like multiple 7, because the truth is there's so many people that are having hardships, right? I mean, that's the fact. But what I like about this industry, for you to make that kind of money, you literally have to help. You have to help create systems, and you're helping people. And I think just one of the things that I like being a believer is you're able to use this platform to help so many people. And so what have you had to overcome what are some of the things that you've had to overcome in life? You kind of touched upon with it, but it wasn't always this case, was it? You just didn't go from 0 to hero.
No, not at all, man. I mean, there's so much. I mean, we go back to even like, so I'm originally from Peru, and out in Peru, I was born there. I lived there for about 5 years. And the crazy part is that I actually remember everything vividly of Peru during those 5 years. It's crazy. But my grandfather was one of the wealthiest people in the country at the time, but he didn't like my mom, who was his son, my father's wife, right? My mom. So we were kind of cut off from the family wealth, right? So we were in complete poverty. No grass. I didn't see grass until I was like 6 years old, right? Like it was just, I mean, there was no bathroom in our house. If we wanted to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, we'd all have to wake up and walk like, 500 feet away. There was like a little hut, like, I mean, literally like third world poverty. And it wasn't until one day there was actually terrorists at our preschool, and that day my parents decided like, hey, we got to sell everything and we just got to get out of here. And luckily they were granted access to come here to the States. And so that was my first, like, that was my first recollections of my first 5 years. If we move forward onto that, when I was 13 years old, immigration knocked at my door. I was 6 a.m. I was with my dad and my brother. I was getting ready for school. And they knocked on the door. A lot of times what happens when you're an immigrant is lawyers know that you're willing to pay whatever it takes, to be here. And so they string you along a lot of the times without actually doing the work. They just take your money. And that's what happened to our family. And we had 3 letters of deportation we didn't know about. So they showed up. I was 13 years old, pounding at the door. Long story short, man, they came in, they arrested my whole family. I was able to actually escape through a window downstairs, and I outran immigration, and I went next door, and I told the lady, my neighbor, I said, hey, this is what's going on. And she was nice enough to let me in. And it was a 3-week battle. My father had to be in jail for 3 weeks. We had different lawyers now that were taking over the case, and eventually we were allowed to stay in the country. Now I'm a U.S. citizen, thank God. But during that time, I felt like when I was 13 years old, that was the first thing that came into my mind of, I want to have power, because I felt like if I had power, then I wouldn't, those things wouldn't happen later on in my life. And for me, power just represented money. Like if I had money, I could do it. So I wanted to make a lot of money. I didn't know what that meant at the time. When I was 19 years old, I got my girlfriend pregnant. When I was 20 years old, I dropped out of college. And so when I got started in network marketing, there was no accolades under my belt in terms of like credibility, where I could call my buddies and say, hey, Troy, I got a business idea. Because if I called you when I was 20, you'd laugh at me, because I was the black sheep of the family. I was the college dropout. Who was going to listen to me, somebody that didn't even have a car, right? So when you look at like the last 11 years of my life, the easiest thing I've done has been to make the millions of dollars that we've made in the last 10 months. But the hardest part has been those 11 years. But the thing is that I didn't come into this industry with an end date. I never said, hey, I'm going to, like, if it doesn't work out by the time I'm 24, I'm going to go this. No, it was like, hey, I'm going to do this until I make $100,000 a month. That was I always wanted to make $100,000 a month. And so when I was 20 years old and I got into the industry, my first couple of years, man, I probably made $500-600 combined. I remember like 7 months in, I got a paycheck for $99 for a month. And I remember like having a family meeting, be like, you guys got to check this out. And I opened up the laptop and I'm like, look at that. It's $99. I was so fired up about it. You know what I mean? And so I've struggled a lot. I mean, when I was 24 years old, I was broke as a joke, man. And I didn't have to suffer as much as I did. I just never saw anything else besides network marketing. I'm like, it's got to be done. Like, I just got to do it. When I was 24, I mean, all we could afford was mac and cheese for my wife and my son and daughter at the time. Or just my son alone at that time, I think it was, because it was like, if we went and donated plasma, like I saw the plasma scars right here, right? And it made me $50. I'm like, dude, that's like 20-30 boxes of mac and cheese, right? So like, that's how we lived. And so although every year got like a little bit better, there's definitely been a lot of things that we've had to overcome. And the last 11 years or the last, I guess, 10 years was just a bunch of experience, a bunch of trial and error, a bunch of just rejections and going after it, getting after it. But I never had an end date, because I'm like, no, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And then boom, November came along. We saw this company. The last 10 months have just changed my life, man. I mean, I like the biggest paycheck I've ever made is $15,000 in 1 month. And, but like, even back last year in November, I only had $800 left in my bank account, and my back was against the wall. And I didn't know how I was going to cover the mortgage the next month. I didn't know how I was going to pay for Christmas. When this opportunity got placed in front of me and my back was against a wall, you have 2 options, right? You either like back down, go get a job, or you freaking start pushing. And I just pushed and I pushed and I worked like I've never worked in my life. And it just was magical what happened after that. So there's definitely been a lot of things we'd had to overcome.
Wow, this is your mess has literally become a message. And so, just like in the Bible, Joseph was a slave and became a pharaoh. So this was so recent that you had financial troubles. I mean, literally your one right move, one right decision. There's a lot of people listening right now that they're struggling out there. There's a lot of people hurting. And just like that, the floor is no place for a winner. And so I love hearing this story. This is fantastic at how quickly this happened, how quickly it happened for you, and a lot of hard work went in. And this is so great. All right. So let's get in before we let you go. What, if you're getting started today, okay, there are people like, all right. I like this guy, Ricky, he's got some similarities because a lot of us have had hardships. How do you get started in this industry? What are some things that you could recommend if you're looking at a home-based business? What are some tips you can give them on what they need to do
to have success in network marketing? Oh man, there's not a lot of things, but here's one thing that I'm always very, very clear on. And first and foremost, man, I tell people, look, you already have everything it takes to win. And I do believe that, there's a company is one thing, a product's another thing. Like, you can find the most boring company out there. There's millionaires in them, right? I always tell people the one variable is always going to be you. You got to be fired up about yourself. That's always going to be first and foremost. Like, you have to know that you got the sauce. I tell my team all the time, put your hand over your heart, start beating against your chest. And you do that long enough, man, your blood starts to boil. You start to get fired up. You start to get excited. And only then do you start building a business, right? So many people have a lot of fear. So many people lack confidence, right? And so how are you supposed to pour into other people's cups if your cup is empty? Every single morning, the most important thing to do is fire yourself up for the day, whatever that means to you. I don't care what it is. So many people take so long to make decisions in life. I was one of those for 10 years, right? It's not even just the people that are struggling. Like, there's people that are making money, but they're suffering emotionally because they know they can go bigger, but there's fear getting in the way. They're comfortable. They're like, oh man, what if, like, I was never that guy. I was taking risks. I was broke last year in November because I was still taking risk in June. I was saying, hey, if I can take 10 grand and put it into this, maybe we could start building up a business, whatever. There's all these things going on in my mind. But if you want to build a business, I'll tell you, you already got it. You already got it. There's not much you need to learn. Like, it's you are the variable, period. And from there, it's just about speed. Like, I am the guy that I love to compress time frames. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, it depending on who I'm talking to, I don't know who the audience is that's watching, right? Maybe you're an 85%er, and that's great. Like, because maybe your goal is to make $1,000, $2,000 a month. But if you're a 5%er or a 1%er, I'm telling you, man, you just got to compress the time frames if you want to have success fast, because we all know that success is just a numbers game. That's all it is. It doesn't matter what your personality is, especially in network marketing. It is just about the numbers, right? And so if you come in, for me, my first 7 days of launching with my current company consisted of talking about 700 to 800 people, right? In those 7 days, I got massive exposure, sponsored over 120 people my first 30 days, because I just wanted to hit that spurge of like momentum, right? For myself, I just wanted to get into that mode. And so, number one, get fired up about yourself, but know that you already have everything it takes. You don't need to be me. You don't need to be Troy. You're already good enough, man. Just wake up every single day and figure out what is it that you want out of life. And if you figure out what you want out of life, close your eyes every morning and visualize it. Say that you're grateful for it already, or get into that zone. Like, for me, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not looking at Messenger. I'm not texting people back. The very first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I lay on the floor. I put in my Bluetooth, and I close my eyes and I listen to a song that fires me up, and I envision my world that I want to live in, and that elevates my mood, and then I can hit the day. The next thing I do is compress time frames. So if you're gonna talk to 1,000 people anyways to make 7 figures a year, why not talk to 1,000 people in the next 30 days? Why not do it in the next 2 or 3 weeks versus the next 3 or 4 years? Like, get rid of the idea that it's I know that there's books out there, right? For your career, all that stuff is good, but forget the idea that it has to take you 4 or 5 years to make any kind of money in this business, man. Like, there's so many people out there preaching like, hey, if you're in it long enough, sure, of course, right? I'm an 11-year story. But when I look at like what's happened over the last 10 months, that could have happened 6 years ago for me. Why didn't it? I wasn't exposed to the right information. If someone would have said, hey, you're good enough and all you got to do is compress timeframes, I might have done it. But back then I didn't believe I was good enough. So I was always searching the next book. I was always searching for the next YouTube video without realizing that, hey, I already knew it all. I just had to go and put it into action. So if you want to win big in network marketing, my advice is get excited about you. Be your number one cheerleader. Be the best distributor for yourself, for your team. Number two, go out there and compress timeframes. Quit worrying about, training your team. Quit worrying about, trying to manage your team. Just get out there and start producing and producing and producing, because people will always do what you do. So I've learned a long time ago, it's like, if I can just say a few sentences to the masses and they can duplicate that, that's all the training that needs to be done. After that, it's just production, right? People get too caught up on posting the right picture or making sure that they read a book and take notes so that they can do a Facebook Live on it. Hey, that's all fine. But if you want to produce income, you want to produce paychecks, get fired up about you, man, and go compress timeframes. That's what's worked for me, man.
I love what you said, because basically you're compressing time. You're going out there and say the person that talks to the most amount of people in the shortest window is the winner. Right. So let me ask you this, Rico. How do you approach people then? What are you saying when you're going out there and saying, okay, I got a list of people, and a lot of people are like, I don't know 1,000 people, and I'm sure if you made a list and looked at everybody went to high school with, college with, even if you haven't talked to them years, and you're making a list of just everyone that's in your phone. If the person literally you're saying that the person that talks to the most amount of people in the shortest window. And the other thing I heard what you did is it's action is the cure all, right? If you go to the gym, you want to lose weight, you're taking action. But if you go to the gym and you're eating right, you think you're great with your teeth, hint, hint, Troy. Okay, let's eat good. I'm intermittent fasting today. Massive action is eating right and going to the gym. So basically what you're saying is you didn't wait for yourself to be perfect, right? You didn't wait for the perfect post, but you took massive action. Even if you only had an hour a day, okay, but you took massive action. And so I love the fact that you said that. I love the fact you didn't wait if everyone waited for the perfect time to have kids, nobody would have kids, right? You had children, things weren't exactly right. Yeah. So here's my question for you is, and then I got one last one is, when you're approaching people, how do you approach them? What are you saying to people? What are some things that you're mentioning when you're going to talk to people and really pique their interest and tell them why you're doing a business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, there's different phases to it. So I'm gonna answer it in two ways. Number one is if you're saying, hey, you know what? Like I'm just starting a new company, or hey, I want to relaunch within my company and have explosive momentum. The first thing that you got to do is understand that people are very future oriented. No one wants to be a part of a boring past, but that's where most people are stuck in, right? So what I like to do is I like to say, hey, you can literally spend 3 or 4 days just pre-launching. And what you do when you pre-launch is you pull out a piece of paper, like a notebook, and you open up Facebook Messenger, for example, and you start sending out a simple message. And that simple message can say something like, hey, I'm getting ready to launch something in a few days. I think it's got a lot of potential. I don't have all the information in front of me, but when I do you want to have the information? Right. And that's excuse me 1 minute. Love you, buddy. So that's the first thing is I did that. It's just a simple message. Hey, I'm getting ready to do something. I think it's got a lot of potential. I don't have all the information in front of me, but when I do, I'm still putting it together. But when I do you want it? Right. And you can blast that out to 300 or 400 people, because really what I'm trying to go for is I'm trying to get people to raise their hand and say, yeah, I want it. Right. I want information. So if you send that out to 400 or 500 people in the next 4 or 5 days, you are going to end up filling a notebook of maybe 200 or 300 people that said, yes, 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 yes. You write their names down. Right. And then you put your info together, whatever it is. It could be a Facebook group. It could be a Zoom call, whatever it is. And then you round back up to those people and send another message and say, hey, that thing I was telling you about, I got the information. It's even going to be bigger than I thought. Do you still want to take a look at it? Right. And then you, again, the same people raise their hand. You might have 250 people right there that are saying, I want information, right? And so that's how you can actually start to hit a high wave of momentum by sponsoring 20 or 30 brand new people in just 14, 15 days by going through those numbers in that first week, right? So that's number one. After that, when it comes on to consistency in terms of like consistent reach outs, I'm a very simple guy. I always tell people, say what you feel in your heart. I don't believe in scripts. I don't teach scripts. None of that. I'm very simple in the terms of like, hey, I'm excited about what I'm doing. I'm not sure if it's the right timing for you or not, but if it is, I'd love to send you some info. It's going to be something so simple. And the one question people always get, because people get so caught up on, well, what if it comes off spammy, or what if I haven't built a relationship with them? And I tell people, I'm like, look, if you're building a relationship because you want to pitch them your business, you already lost. And that's manipulation, right? Like way too many people talk about, oh, like, I hear all the time, oh, don't have commission breath. I'm like, okay, you want manipulation breath? You want me to build a relationship, get to know you and your cat and your dog and what's your favorite color of sweater in the fall? Or do you want me to be honest with you and say, hey, listen, Troy, I know we just got to know each other. We've been friends on Facebook for 2 years. I haven't taken the time to reach out, but listen, the reason I'm reaching out is because I'm excited about what I'm doing. There's a lot of people winning. Not sure if it's the right time for you or not, but are you open to taking a look? It can be something so simple. Hey man, I know I just sent you a friend request, but I've only known you for about a week. I love your page, by the way. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. But if you're at all open, we got this thing that we're working on that's really exciting. A lot of people are winning. And either way, I would love to hear back from you. So it's just simplicity. It's not so much about what you say. It's about your intention, being genuine with people, and being very short and simple, man. If you're sending people a message of like, oh, my company's done this in the last 10 months. Oh, I've made this amount of money. I never recruit based off my own personal income or numbers. I just say, hey, I'm excited about what we're doing. The experiences in our customer group are incredible. If you're at all open to taking a look, let me know. If not, that's okay too, right? I'm just very, very simple in my approach. So that's what I do. So I'll throw it back to you.
I love that. I love that. So I got to ask you another one. So I love those things. I'm excited about something. I'm ready to launch some things. That's money. That's delicious, man. That's yummy stuff. So people have to go back and rewind that and listen to that. So you're using a lot of social media, and that's one of the ways you blow up your business is you have a phenomenal ad tag message ATM system. So you are channeling people through Facebook pages.
I am, I feel like you got to go where the eyes are at. You know what I mean? And the eyes are on social media. It doesn't mean that everyone has social media either, but the masses do. And what I feel like the future is, because network marketing for like, in my opinion, for the last 10, 15 years has all been about, this is my compensation plan and this is why it's better. And this is a timing and a lot of factual based movements. We wanted to spark a revolution based on experiences. And so we put together a customer group, and we wanted it to be a private customer group so that people could post their own experiences and have the people build a community out to see just what it would turn into. And we started that page with 4 people on December 1st. Right now it's at 322,000 members in the last 10 months. And it's just an experience-based movement. And so the simplicity in my message is very simple. You've got to take a look at these products. Let me add you to this group. And what my vision from the beginning was, that's going to be the platform to get you a customer, to get you a distributor, and to launch a distributor. So you can imagine if you sponsor 120 people in your first 30 days, you can imagine how difficult it would be if my system consisted of taking an hour and a half with each of them just to launch them and train them. So as we were signing people up, I was on conference calls and people were messaging me saying, hey man, I just signed up. Can we hop on the phone so you can tell me how to get started? And I'm like, hey, I'm on a call right now. Go add 30 people into that group and then go check your e-wallet and tell me how much money is in there. Right. And that was the entire thing. That's what it's been until this day. At 30 people, your first 3 days as fast as possible. That's all I teach, man. That's my getting started video is literally like a minute and a half long. Hey, you're gonna add 30 people to a group. This is ATM. Boom. Simple.
That's incredible. See, I mean, you just said your phone is the new TV and the TV is the new radio. And, you're just adding people. You got a company and you're doing this right now. You have a company that's paying people a lot of money to work part-time from home by endorsing their products through social media that are products that are helping their health and well-being. What more can you ask for, right? And then go grab your friends and help out as well. So, your systems are obviously, they're working for you to make millions of dollars in just 8 months and go from, kind of broke, busted, and disgusted to going from zero to hero. I love it. I love it. So look, we're out of time, but real quick, where obviously people are watching this video, and then we'd love to have you back, but people are going to want to find you. Where can they find Ricky V? Where can they contact you? What platforms do you have that they can look you up?
Yeah, so you can Facebook page, facebook.com/Ricky V Project. I just launched my fan page today, and that's facebook.com/the Ricky V Project. Instagram.com/Ricky V Project. That's just been my brand. So you can find me on social media anytime. That's where I'm at.
Man, we got so much in common. You're younger and better looking than I am. Okay, fair enough. But it's like Ricky V. You got to say Ricky V. I'm tying with Troy because nobody can say my last name or find me. We both, kind of grew up poor, and we're out here just trying to make a difference. So, Ricky, I got to tell you, this was great. I love the ending. You just killed it with some nuggets. I mean, talk about a golden nugget that you landed. Like you ended like the Joy Costanza. We want more of you. You're leaving the room when we want more of you. So this was fantastic. We're going to love to have you again. And for those of you who may know me or don't know me, I'm Time with Troy. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. Go ahead to YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell. We're going to have other top earners, CEOs here. And we're definitely, this is one of my favorites of all time. We're definitely going to have you back, Ricky. You were just very refreshing and brought a lot of great content. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks a lot, Troy. See you on the next one.
All right. God bless. Bye-bye.